Hey my loves, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. So as you can see from the title of today's video, I will be going in depth and talking about my experience being admitted in the hospital for technically a week. It was like 6 days, but basically let's say it was a week. If you are new, thank you for joining in, and I would appreciate if you join the family by hitting that subscribe button and turning on your post notification. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Okay, so I went into the hospital. Okay, before going into the hospital, I woke up Sunday. It was November 19th. I woke up November 19th and I had a scratchy throat, right? So I was like, it's just a scratchy throat. I'm getting sick. It's nothing abnormal or anything concerning. It was just a scratchy throat. I woke up the Monday, November 20. I still had the scratchy throat and I felt a bit weak. I went to school. I did my test because I had a test that day. And then I left Kingston and came home to Clarendon. I still felt a bit sick on the Monday, but it wasn't anything alarming or anything life-threatening at the time. And I went into work. I was doing community service at my old primary school. So I went in the Tuesday. I wasn't feeling the best, but I went in and I was okay. So Tuesday night, I started with coughing, but I'm like, I'm getting a cold, I'm having the flu, so coughing is normal, scratchy throat is normal, feeling a bit weak in my body is something that is normal. So fast forward to Wednesday morning, I woke up and I was still coughing and I was like coughing. And I was considering not going in for community service that morning. So I was coughing and then I noted that I started to wheeze. I'm not asthmatic. Bear in mind, I'm not asthmatic. I do have sinusitis, which tends to affect me from time to time, depending on the weather, my environment, and stuff like that. So it wasn't alarming that I was wheezing because I have wheezed 1-2 times in the past. So it wasn't anything abnormal. I'm just wheezing. It's a side effect of me coughing and having the flu. So I went into community service the morning, even though I wasn't feeling my best throughout the day. I had a few students asking me if I was sick. If you looked at me, you could see the sickness in my face. And I forgot to mention this, but throughout the video, I'll be adding small clips that I took when I was in the hospital and so on. So I'll probably put them right here to, give you a better picture of what I'm trying to explain with my words, so you guys can get a better understanding. So a few students kept asking me if I was feeling okay, and I was coughing really badly. And as the day progressed, I noted that the wheezing got a lot worse. I started to become concerned, but not concerned to the point where, oh, I need to go to the hospital, right? And I started to be like, this is getting worse and I'm not feeling so good. So school ended at about 1 p.m. because normally on Wednesdays, school ends at 1 p.m. So I was like, yay, school is, finishing early today so I can get to go home and sleep because I was not really feeling well. So I came home and along the way I stopped. I got a cold and flu pill. If you know Cetamol cold and flu, they work wonders. So I got one of those and I took it, but the coughing was really, really, really bad, to the point where my mom had to tell my dad, buy a cough syrup when you're on your way back. And they bought the cough syrup. I took the cough syrup. The wheezing was so bad. The wheezing got really bad. And as the night progressed, it got even worse because I am sitting here right now and you'd be on the other side of the room or maybe outside the door and you're hearing me. That's how loud it was and how bad it was. And as the night progressed, it got a little bit harder to breathe and there was pain in my chest. And I was like, no, something is definitely wrong. When I was lying down, I couldn't breathe. I had to sit up. And when I sat up, eventually after a while, I was still having trouble breathing. So I told my mom, like, I don't think I can make it through the night. I have to go to the hospital. And that is when they took me to the hospital. And when I went in, I did my registration. I saw a nurse. She checked my vitals, and then I saw a doctor. Because if you know how Mapen Hospital is set up, you have to see multiple doctors and stuff like that. So I saw a doctor and I explained to her that I was having shortness of breath, I was wheezing, I was having tightness in my chest, and I wasn't asthmatic, right? Even though throughout the entire experience, the doctors were like, you are asthmatic. Even though I've never had an attack my entire life, they told me, you are asthmatic. And I've researched it, and you can get asthma at any stage in life. However, I do not want to claim that over myself. I told God that yes, I went through this experience, but I do not want to go back into the hospital any at all to be admitted for something like this again. And you know, when I went in, she initially diagnosed me with acute bronchospasm. I don't even think I'm saying that word correctly, so I'll just pop it up on the screen so you guys can know what that is. But basically, my respiratory tract my respiratory tract was inflamed, and it was kind of, you know, shrinking down. So that's why I was having trouble breathing, and I was experiencing tightness in my chest. And eventually that wasn't enough to like really diagnose me, because they, after that first initial diagnosis of acute bronchospasm, I don't think I'm saying the word right, guys. Honestly, don't think I'm saying the word right, but as I said, I'll pop it here. So yeah, I went on the nebulizer for, they told me to go on for 9 rounds. I only went 8 because the room that the nebulizer systems are set up in, the AC is very high in that room. I do understand in the sense that, you know, hospitals, they have to be cold because of the old bacteria and everything. But I do not understand why you would have a room for people who are asthmatic or people who are having breathing problem and it's so cold. Because eventually through the entire process, my nose started to burn. I started to feel burning in my head because of how cold it was. I had on my sweater, I had on socks, I had on long jeans pants, I had on merino and a t-shirt, but I was still freezing, and everyone around me was like complaining about the coldness of the room. So I went on the nebulizer for 8 out of the 9 rounds, and after going on the nebulizer for 3 times, the nurse would need to check your vitals again. So after every 3 rounds, I would have to go back to a nurse, check my blood pressure, check my sugar level, and then I would have to go back on again for 3 times and repeat the process. So after the 9 rounds, I only did 8. The 9 rounds of being on the nebulizer, I was still wheezing. I wasn't wheezing as badly as when I first arrived, because at this point, you're sitting beside me now, you would not be able to hear me wheezing as I was before coming to the hospital. So being on the nebulizer reduced the symptoms and it made it better to breathe. So after being on the nebulizer for the 9 times and I was still wheezing, they sent me to do an x-ray of my chest, my lungs area. So they sent me to do the x-ray. I went and I did the x-ray. Doctor told me that I had some infection around my right lungs. So they gave me drip, the saline. They put an access right here, and I got saline. I said saline. I got saline, and they put some antibiotics in the saline for me. But after that, I was still wheezing. So the doctor told me that, you know, they would have to admit me. And they also took some blood from me when I had the access right here, because they needed to do some tests. And they were like, okay, the wheezing is still not good. We don't like how your chest is sounding. So they admitted me. And initially, it was like, to me in that moment, the worst news you could possibly ever get. For me, I was always like, I wanted to be a nurse. Then applying for nursing school, I got waitlisted. And then throughout that process of being waitlisted, I realized that I did not like the hospital. So I was like, God, you are good. You know what you're doing when you are doing it. I do not like the hospital, and so I could not be a nurse. I'm very empathetic and sympathetic, so I would not have been able to see persons around me being sick, persons around me dying, and be mentally okay. So God really knew what he was doing when he waitlisted me for nursing school. And no, I'm in business and I'm happy where I am right now. Now back to the story. So initially, as I said, when I got the news that I would be admitted, I was like, no, I am not. I did not say it to the doctors, but it was what I was thinking. I was like, no, I'm not being admitted here. I do not want this. But eventually I was like, it's for my own good, right? It's for my own good. This is the best place to be, to treat whatever is going on in my body. So I told my mom, because we were there from Wednesday night, and we got the news that I'd be admitted Thursday in like the after 2 hours. So it was like hours, until I was given the news that I would be admitted. So I came and I told her, because when you have an access in your hand, you cannot leave the hospital area. So I told her that, I'm going to be admitted. And she was like, okay. So she went home, and my dad came back a few hours later with food and clothes, because I basically did not eat anything from the 10 o'clock hours when we went to the hospital Wednesday night until like Thursday, because I had like a cup of tea Thursday morning and like a bun and water, and that was pretty much what I ate the entire like almost 24 hours. So he came and he brought soup, he brought clothes, and I told him that, follow me to the bathroom. I want to take a bath and stuff and shower. I wanted to take a shower. So he followed me and he stood outside, and I took the shower, and I was given, no, at the time I was not given a bed as yet, because I was not admitted as yet. I was given the news that I was going to be admitted the Thursday, but I did not get admitted until the Friday morning. So Thursday night, hear the drama. Hear this drama. Thursday night, I had to sleep on a chair. This is the first time in my life that I had to experience something like that. I had to sleep on a chair, because remember that I went into hospital Wednesday in the like after 10, and I woke up Wednesday morning from like 5 a.m. So I haven't slept from 5 a.m. Wednesday straight back till Thursday in the evening. So I was tired. So when I saw the doctor and she listened to my back, and she's like, I don't like the way your chest is sounding and stuff. I asked her, doctor, can I get some DPH, because I haven't slept in almost 48 hours and I am tired. So she wrote a little note, and I got the DPH, and I took a chair and I slept through all the drama, through all the chaos that's going on in the hospital. I slept on a chair. Doctors calling names and stuff. I was out like a light. But eventually I woke up and a doctor came. I think he was a specialist. He came and he called me, and he asked me a lot of questions. Was I having headaches prior? Have I noticed weight loss? Are there hypertensive person in my family, diabetic, do I smoke? And I do understand the need to ask these questions, because you want to be thorough and you want to know exactly what's going on with a patient. So, it took a little while. Then he did some examination. He checked the color of my palm to see if it was a normal color. He listened to my back, and it was like, yes, you are definitely wheezing and stuff. And then that is when they admitted me. So that was like Thursday in the around it was like early Friday morning. It was like 1-2 a.m. in the Friday mornings, and then I got admitted around like the 5 a.m. Friday morning. And that's when a guy that I knew, he lives in my community. Thank you, Devin, if you see this video, thank you. He really ensured that, you know, I was okay. I gave him my phone to charge because the battery was dead. And he just looked out for me, and I'm really grateful for that. He is the reason why I actually got a bed, because one of the doctors told me that, you know, they really want the treatment to work because they don't have any bed right now. So they want it to work so I can get to go home. And he was the one who got a bed for me. And I was in A&E for like a day. I stayed in I stayed in A&E, which is accident and emergency. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I am mispronouncing so many of these words today, but A&E. And while being in A&E, I was there Friday morning, and then I got moved Saturday. But while being in A&E, I had to be getting treatments, and I asked Devin to remove this access from right here because it was sore, the place was cold, and it was hurting. So I had to get a new one. And listen this, the doctor tried to put one right here, and while inserting the needle, literally my hand started to swell, and he had to like apply pressure and pull out the needle and bandage up the area. And even right now, I've been discharged for like a week, and this happened about almost 2 weeks now, and my hand is literally still hurting right here. You could even see a little bit of discoloration right here. It still hurts. It's very tender, it's very sensitive, and that little bump right there is where the needle was inserted. So he had to find another area, and I was like panicking. Like through the entire experience, I was so calm. I was like so calm and everything, and I saw my hand started to swell, so I started to like panic, like what is going on? So I was like, you sure you don't want to put it back in this arm? I'm okay, even though this arm was like sore and stuff. I was like, you sure you don't want to put it back right here? And he eventually put it back. He eventually found a new spot right here. I don't think you guys will be able to see it that well, but he found a new spot right here, and that's where I had the access for my entire duration while staying at the hospital. So while being in A&E, there was a patient that was across from me. He died. He was an elderly man, and he died. And I initially thought that, you know, seeing death, being around death, I would like cry or feel like, you know, but the way that he died, it wasn't like from an accident or, you know, he got shot or anything like that. He died peacefully in his bed in the early morning, and I think that is kind of the reason why I wasn't so worked up about it, or I wasn't like somebody died. Fast forward to, and I want to mention that throughout the entire experience, I had visitors, which I will mention in the video. And throughout the experience, my friends, family, my church family, pastor, and everybody, they really prayed for me. They checked in on me daily. They called me. Like, there were so many messages coming in, and that was like one of the factors that really helped me to get through this experience. So as I said, my mother came every day. She came during the 11 to 12 visiting hours in the morning. And on Saturday, when I got moved to the isolation ward, my friend Tasha Lee, she came and she visited me. She brought some fruits, and we were there laughing and everything. Throughout the experience, she was like, I was on the phone with her almost every day, and this really helped with, you know, the anxious feeling that I was having, because it's my first time being in the hospital. So I was nervous. I'm not going to say that I cried or I was depressed or anything like that, but I was nervous, you know, being in the environment. You're not used to the routine. You're not used to the medication and every stuff and stuff like that. I was nervous. So she came, you know, we laughed, we talked, and she came back again on Monday. And as I said, my mother came every day. So my mother was there throughout the entire experience with me. And I'm going to insert like some of the medication and the routine that I had. But my daily routine was like antibiotics through a syringe, through the access that I had on my hand. I was taking these small little pills, 8 of them with another big one, and I took that like every day. I don't remember the name of it, but I'll pop it up on the screen because I do know the name, but I'm not sure of the name right now. So I'll pop it up on the screen of what I was taking. I went on the ventilator. I was getting an injection with antibiotics as well, and that was pretty much it. And throughout the entire experience, I would say that I got food like 3 times during the day. So I got breakfast around 9:30 in the morning, and then we got like lunch at around like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we got supper around like 6 o'clock in the evening. So supper mostly entailed tea and bread. So sometimes we would get like tuna with lettuce and tea for supper. Sometimes during the day we would get soup for lunch or rice and peas. In the mornings we'd probably get porridge and bread and butter with tea and stuff like that. And my mom carried like food and water and fruits for me every day, so it wasn't like I was there and starving. And I was like, this food isn't bad. I saw where, you know, you could use a little pepper and them stuff there, but overall to me the food wasn't bad. I always hear persons complain about hospital food is this, hospital food is that, but the food was not bad at all. The food actually tasted okay, and yeah, as I said, my mom brought food for me and it was really nice. So my mom came every day to visit. My friend Tashali, she came 2 days to visit me. One of my aunt came 1 day with my mother, and that was pretty much my experience. You know, the nurses were nice. However, one of the things that I did not like was being woken up at like 5 or 3 in the morning, or like 11 if I fell asleep to check vitals, because going into the hospital, my vitals were like all over the place. Like my blood sugar level was always okay, but my blood pressure level it wasn't concerning to the point like, oh my god, she's having a stroke or we need to give her medicine for this, but it was higher than what it was, a lot higher than what it is expected to be, especially for someone at my young age. And I'm not claiming anything, because at the end of the day, a lot of my family members, my father, aunts, grandparents, they have hypertension, or you know, they have hypertension. So it's something that is, I would say, hereditary, if it's in my case that I am hypertensive, because from my lifestyle I've kind of adapted to a more healthy lifestyle, more active lifestyle. So it's not that I consume a lot of salt, or I'm obese, or I'm inactive, or you know, I'm drinking and those type of things. For me it would be hereditary. And even so, I'm not claiming to be hypertensive. I'm not claiming to be asthmatic. I went through an experience, and throughout it all I thank God, because listen, if it wasn't for gospel music, and it wasn't for God, and it wasn't for my friends and family, I honestly felt like I wouldn't have lasted that long. Because Sunday, which was like 2 days before I got discharged, I got discharged on Tuesday. On Sunday, you know, when some of the "how are you feeling today" messages were coming in, and I actually sat and I thought about it, and I was like, you know, I'm not doing so well, because Sunday morning I got an injection and like through the entire day, and I went on the ventilator. My heart was just, and I wasn't feeling my best Sunday. So I was like, God, you know, I took out my prayer journal. Like, I didn't even tell my mother to bring it, but God inspired her to bring it, because I was going to, but I was like, she's probably already left out, and so I'll have to tell her to bring it tomorrow. But I was surprised when she brought it to me, and I was like, God, you know, he's always intervening, he's always working on my behalf. And throughout the experience I was like, God, I do not understand how this is working out for my good, but I am going to trust you through it. And throughout the experience, I was not thinking like, oh, I'm going to make a YouTube video out of this, because who goes into the hospital thinking like, oh, this is great content? But through and through, the idea came to me like, you know, just take some clips, make a video, talk about your experience, share it. This is my testimony. I went into the hospital and I could have died, but I did not, because I am purpose, and you cannot kill purpose. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes going through life, I feel boxed in, I feel caged in, I feel like everything is just attacking me from all sides, and sometimes I feel like I can't breathe. But I have been learning to trust God more. Sometimes, yes, I do like cry, and I am like, God, what is going on? You know, but at the end of the day, I have never liked, I'm going to curse God, I'm going to be done with this Christian thing, I'm going to, give God an ultimatum, do this, solve this, or I'm walking. I've never done that, and I will never do that, through and through. I might not understand what is going on, because sometimes it's like, God, how is me being sick? How is that for my good? Or how is me being broke or failing a module or this or that? How is that working out for my good? But at the end of the day, I might not understand everything that is happening. I might not understand his master plan. But I believe that there's a Romans 8 verse 18 for me. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present times is not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in me. So despite what is happening now, I was in the hospital. Some persons, they would have been, God, how if you allow this to happen to me? Where are you? I have never questioned him, where are you or why this is happening to me. I am not better than anyone who is in the hospital right now, or anybody who is dead and gone. But because of the grace of God, I'm here right now, and I can share this testimony and this experience. And I can say, yes, God was with me through the entire thing, because he was with me through the entire thing. And after, I got discharged, I got sent home with 5 days worth of antibiotics. And my mom bought cough syrup. I was given an inhaler. And I was taking the antibiotics, and I started to notice an allergic reaction. So I stopped taking them and I threw them out. But through and through, that was pretty much my experience being in the hospital. And I think I could have gone a little bit more in depth, but it would have taken a lot more time. And I just wanted to share this experience with you guys, share this testimony to let you know that, this is what I went through for like a week, and God brought me through it. So despite what you are going through right now, trust and believe that he will bring you through it. It might seem dark, you might seem boxed in, caged in, you might cry a little bit, you might like what is happening right now, but trust and believe that he will never leave you nor forsake you. And that is pretty much the video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, if you liked this video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, please turn on your post notifications so you'll be notified whenever I upload videos. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye my loves.